Shalom. First, I want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak HaKadosh. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone from whom I learned this truth. And Shalom to the 144,000 elect. I am Allah. And I just wanted to bring out a lesson about making good sound decisions in these times that we're in. I'm not really sure what I'm going to call this. It's just paying attention to the things going on today, things going on in the news, things going on that you see happening around you, noticing people's behavior, how everybody seems to be in a erratic kind of behavior. Everything's kind of chaotic right now, so it's really important to make sure that you're paying attention to the things that are going on around you, paying attention and monitoring your own behavior. Going to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And I just got a few verses that I wanted to bring out. They're not all necessarily linking together, but like I said, I just wanted to bring out some verses about paying attention and making good sound decisions in these days that we're in, these end days that we're living in. So I'm going to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11. It says, "When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things." So clearly in this verse, this is making reference to making good sound decisions and behaving as an adult, behaving as a grown-up, behaving as someone who is other than a child, because it says, I put away childish things. I just want to look up that word childish, because once you put that suffix ish on the end of a word, it means like or means as. So clearly it's not saying that you could, it's not talking about a child, it's talking about childish behavior. So it says G 35:16. And I'll give you a pronunciation of the word.
G 35:16. Napios. Napios.
All right, and it says napios. It says metaphor, says childish, untaught, or unskilled. It says, I'm looking at the Strong's definition. It says a simple-minded person, an immature, and it says Christian here, a babe or a child. So that's being childish. And I brought that up because you see a lot of people getting involved in a lot of things, getting caught up in a lot of things, and not even paying attention to how times are changing rapidly, how things are changing, how things are speeding up, and how so much chaos is going on. You got wars going on everywhere. You got in just in the United States alone, you got chaotic behavior. You got all kind of unalivings going on, and people are just going about their day-to-day routine, feeling like everything is all right. You got a lot of things that can distract you, a lot of things that can keep you away or make you tune out from the realities of what's going on. There's a lot of chaos going on in the world right now. I mean, things like you got football season going on right now. You got pretty soon you're gonna have basketball season going on. You got baseball season, and then of course you got the entertainment world still spinning around and doing what they do to entertain you and keep you with folly. So between all these things and things going on in Hollywood, there's a lot of things that can take you away and keep you away from taking advantage and recognizing the times that we're living in, and taking advantage to fill your spirit and keep your spirit filled up with the word and with this truth, and getting understanding so that you know how to stand in these end times that we're facing. I'm going to go to Proverbs chapter 13. Like I said, I really don't have a real direction which I'm going in. I just have a few verses that I wanted to bring out, and then that'll be the end. I got a real quick video I want to look at, and it's real quick. You've seen this before. As you can see, I got Donald Trump right there. A lot of a face that you've been seeing in your news if you're paying attention to the news, because he's got something to say every day. Some new direction he wants to go in, but it's all going to the same place, ending in the same place to create chaos and disruption. Where did I say we were going? Okay, we're going to Proverbs chapter 13 and verse 16. It says, "Every prudent man dealeth with knowledge, but a fool layeth open his folly." And let's take a look at that word prudent. And I'm going into the blue letter. It is H6175, and I'll give you a pronunciation of the word.
Strong's H6175. Arum. Arum. Second entry. Arom. Arom.
All right, and it says, I'm looking at definition B here. It says, this is definition 1B. It says shrewd, sensible, or prudent. Strong's definition says crafty or prudent or subtle. All right. So it says every prudent man dealeth with knowledge, but a fool layeth open his folly, as to being engaged or being involved in folly and blatantly putting your folly out there. Like you see a lot of people just, like I said, going about their daily lives, being engaged in football season, being caught up in the baseball season, and engaging in their parties and just being out and being involved in folly. But the prudent man is dealing with knowledge. The prudent man is paying attention to what's going on in this world. Is paying attention to what's going on in the news. Is also keeping his vessel, keeping his mind on Yahweh Shai, on Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, and the Word. Reading and being diligent and being involved in reading his Bible and staying in his Word and engaging every day. That's what the prudent man is doing. Now this video clip that I wanted to show you is something that you've seen. It's not a new clip. It's real short. And I just want to also say fair use. Fair use. This is not. This is just for edification purposes. And it's a real short video. You've seen this before. And I'll let it play.
Presents, well, the comedy for the storm. What's the storm? Could be, the comedy for the storm. represents, well, it's the calm before the storm.
What's the storm?
Could be, calm before the storm.
What storm is
We
the
have the
president?
world's great military people in this room, I will tell you that. And we're going to have a great evening. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
He says you'll find out. Now I know you've seen that before. This is 7 years old. This is from his first administration, where he said you're looking at the calm before the storm, and you even hear the reporters in the background asking, "What storm? What are you talking about?" Now, 7 years ago, there are people who heard that and took heed and started to pay attention if they hadn't already been paying attention. And then you had others who asked the question, what storm? And they still, a lot of those same people are still asking, because they're not being diligent, not paying attention, and engaging in their own folly, are still asking that question, what storm? If they're even asking themselves at all. Because a lot of people just aren't paying attention. A lot of people think everything is all right. A lot of people think that, we're making America great again. So a lot of people are happy with what's going on, and they don't see a problem with it. So therefore, they're just engaging in their day-to-day activities. Nothing's going on. Everything's fine. But he told you 7 years ago, and if you didn't know that there was a storm raging then, and we're in a storm right now. And it's just the beginning of the storm. It's going to get worse. I'm going to go to my next precept here. He was trying to tell you about the impending dangers that is going on. He's about to tell you about the things that he had planned on down the line, and now you're starting to see those things that he had planned down the line, because he's going in different states with the military. This man is pretty much doing what he wants to do. All right, and he's not worried about anybody challenging it, because he knows he'll take it to the Supreme Court, and he'll still have his way right there also. So I'm going to go to Proverbs 22 and verse 3. It says, "A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished." And I want to take a look at this word prudent.
Strong's H, 6175. Arum.
All right, and we just
Second entry. Arum.
So we just took a look at this word, but I wanted to make sure it reiterated the definition of it, because it says to be shrewd, to be sensible, be prudent. And I want to look at this word shrewd also. Shrewd says having or showing sharp powers of judgment, being astute. So in these days, you have to have sharp powers of judgment. And in order to be able to have good judgment, you have to be doing just what I said. You have to be paying attention to what's going on around you, and recognizing that 7 years ago, this man told you that a storm was coming, and that storm is brewing. We're in the midst of the storm, and if you haven't been preparing yourself and making sure that you're filled up, so that you know how to act and you know how to behave when this storm begins to brew, begins to blow, begins to take place, you're not going to know what to do. So it's important that you pay attention. I have just one more verse that I want to go to, and actually it's a few verses that I want to read here, but I'm going to go to a parable, the book of Matthew, chapter 25. And I'm going to start at 1, but this is Yahushua. This is in red letter, so this is Yahushua speaking. And this is the parable of the 10 virgins, since we're talking about prudence. And it says, "Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom." And these 10 virgins took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. Those 10 virgins being Israel, the Israelites. And those lamps being their vessels, themselves going to meet the bridegroom being Yahushua. Vessels being ready, being filled up and being prepared by making sure that you're staying in this word, you're being diligent and getting knowledge of this word as to how to stand and what to do in these end days. Verse 2, it says, "The 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish." So you got 5 out of these 10 virgins, you got 5 that were wise and 5 that were foolish. It says, "They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them." So that kind of goes back to being behaving in a childish manner. So they took their lamps with them, but they took no oil with them. So those were just empty vessels that they had, they were going out to meet the bridegroom with empty vessels, and nothing filling them up, nothing to sustain them, nothing to keep them going until the bridegroom comes. Verse 4 says, "But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps." Verse 5, it says, "While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept." So while they were waiting for the bridegroom, they nodded off. They kind of slumbered and slept while they awaited. And that's what's going on right now. A lot of people, since 7 years ago, when this man told you that a storm was coming, even if for those who didn't already know a storm was coming, he told you that a storm was coming, and you still had people who didn't pay attention. They asked that question at the time, "What storm?" And because they don't pay attention and they haven't been paying attention, they still don't see the storm brewing. They don't see the beginnings of this storm. And like I said, even though this is still the beginning, we're in this storm. Verse 6, it says, "And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps." So they readied their lamps to go out to meet the bridegroom, because it was announced that he was coming. It says, "And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out." So you got those foolish who are looking around, and now that we're in this storm, they're looking around, wondering what to do. And they're trying to find someone. They're scrambling, trying to go to somebody who they can ask for oil, so that they can have their lamps filled. It says, "But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there be not enough for us and you, but go ye rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves." So a lot of people have not been paying attention, have not been listening to what the great men of Great Millstone have been putting out for years, have been teaching, have been telling you and warning you about, have been prophesying about, to say they've been saying before these events begin to happen. And now that you see these events happening, a lot of people are scrambling, wondering what to do and where can they go. The doors are closing. You have but a short time. Verse 10, it says, and while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. See that? So after this door is shut, there's not going to be anything that you can do. There's not going to be anybody that you can go to get your oil, get your vessel filled with oil. So you need to be repenting. You need to be doing it right now, because this is the beginning of the storm. This is only the beginning, and what you're seeing is nothing compared to what's to come. It says, afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, verily, I say unto you, I know you not. So if your vessel's not filled and you're not doing what's required of you and being diligent right now, that's how the Lord Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai is going to react to you in that day when he comes back to visit this place and to do and exercise judgment. He's going to say he knew you not. He doesn't know you. You didn't take the time when there was time available that you had to, in order to be able to fill your vessel, in order to be able to have oil in your lamp. You weren't using the time and being diligent. Verse 13, I'm going to end it right here. It says, watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour when the Son of Man cometh. All right, so you don't know when Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai will come. You don't know when that day of the Lord is, but if you're watching and being diligent, it won't come upon you as a surprise, because your vessel will be filled and you'll know what to do at that time. You'll know what to do once this storm really starts to brewing, because like I said, this is only the beginning. We haven't seen nothing yet. And I got just one more that I want to go to, and that'll be the end. I know I said that was the last one, but this will be the last one. And I'm going to go to Ephesians chapter 5. Verse 15, it says, see then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. So you have to be looking about you and paying attention. It says, see that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. So you have to be seeing and watching what's about you, and we're looking at these signs and knowing what signs are exactly being put out there for you, and recognize them when those signs appear. Verse 16 says, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. And I'm going to read that in the NLT. It says, make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. So like I said, the doors of repentance are closing. So you need to repent today. You need to repent now. Because although you see the great men of Great Millstone still out on the highways and byways, they're not going to be there always, because there's going to be a time where there's going to be a famine of the word, and you're going to be looking for those men so that you'll know what to do in these end days. And they're not going to be there, because their oil, their lamps are going to be full, and they're going to be awaiting the bridegroom. And they're going to go in and be into the marriage to the bridegroom. All right. So I'm going to leave that there. And I pray that this has been edifying to the listener. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaKadash. Shalom.